Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft with Shannon Sharp at the moment. Shannon, did you go visit Skip's house and sabotage his audio this morning? Because right now we're working on Skip's audio, and I don't know what you did to set this up.
Jenny, first of all, he wasn't going to have much to say anyway. After I tell him how his Bucs and his Cowboys going to be looking this year, he was going to be very disappointed. So what he did, he ended up tinkering with his own audio because he didn't want to hear what I had to say.
Oh, is that what it is, Shannon? I know you are ready. I know you got a lot to say, and we are working on Skip's audio. He will be back soon. But I would like to start the show with you, Shannon, by talking about those NFL schedules that were released last night, because I know everyone is so looking forward to it. We finally have a good idea of what the 2020 NFL season will look like after those schedules were released. And that is where, Tom Brady and the Bucs will open up week 1 on Fox in New Orleans against Drew Brees and the Saints. Tampa will also host the Packers week 6 and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs week 12. So Shannon, what is the Bucs' record this season after you've had a chance to look at that schedule?
Well, even before they got Gronk, we had a general idea of who they were going to play. We knew that, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were going to be playing the AFC West. And so the question was, when were they going to be playing these teams? Week 1, week 5, week home and away. When I look at it, I said 9-7 at the very beginning. And so, looking at this schedule is tougher, especially coming down the home stretch. I'm going to say they go 10-6, and I'm going to say they're going to get, they added a playoff, a wild card team. So I'm saying they're going to get that wild card. I believe they open up the season with an L in New Orleans. Game 3, which is on the road at Denver, will be very, very tough. It'll be tougher than people think. But when I look at this, Jenny, the second half of their schedule is going to be very difficult. At home, week 6 against Green Bay. On the road, week 9 against the Saints. 2 games. The last 3 weeks of the season, 15-17. Home and away against Atlanta. The Chiefs, week 12. And home against the Bucs, week 14. So if you look at it, the bottom half of the schedule looks like it's going to be very, very difficult. I remember when the schedule used to come out, and I remember going over the schedule like, okay, win, this is going to be tough, win. Because I remember doing that in 98, and I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm like, man, we might be 11-0, 12-0. I did not have us losing to the Giants, and that was one of the games that we lost along with the Dolphins. And so I'm sure everybody's looking at their schedule now, especially the players, and they're probably trying to see where there's a win here, there's a win there. It's 50-50. This might be tough because we're in their building. We know that playing in their building is going to be very difficult. So I think that's the thing. I'm going to say 10-6, and they get one of those 2, well, I guess it's one of those 3 wild cards now because you have 4 division winners, and now you're going to have 3 wild cards. And I'm going to say they'll have one of the 3 wild cards. I do not believe they win the NFC South. I believe the Saints will win that division, and that division is going to be really tough between them, the Saints, and the Atlanta Falcons. Hey, Skip, how you doing? Did you hear? I said you guys are going to go 10-6, and you'll get one of those 3 wild cards.
I was having a little problem with my audio, but I joined you just in time to hear you say people don't know how tough it's going to be for Tom Brady to win at Denver. Did you just say that? The quarterback for the Broncos. Go ahead.
No. I'm saying week 3, Denver will be tougher than people think, Skip. And they've gotten better. They've gotten more speed. They get Bradley Chubb back. I think they've upgraded their defense. I know for certain they've upgraded their offense. And so I believe that game, and you remember, Skip, Tom Brady has struggled there a lot of his years playing in Denver. This is the first time I think they have a team that's viable, that I believe that can cause Tom Brady some problems again on defense and can put points on the board offensively.
The quarterback is Drew Lock. I didn't like him before the draft. They seemed to try to fall in love with him last year. We got to see almost like a cameo of him last year. Good luck to you this year. Let's see, Tom Brady versus Drew Lock. I think I'm going to go with Tom Brady in that game, and I think you will too. I realize Denver has been a house of horrors for Tom Brady for years, but not against Drew Lock. They will win that game. Now, my overview for what has happened for the Bucs with their schedule. When I first heard the leak of this yesterday afternoon, that the opening game was going to be, wait a second, Tom Brady's first game as a Buccaneer was at New Orleans, I was sick to my stomach. I said, okay, great. So they tossed a bone to all you Brady haters out there, you billions of Brady haters, and said, let's stick him with an opening day loss, opening night loss, as it turns out. And again, the toughest game of the year on the Tampa slate is clearly at New Orleans. It's week 1, and it's in a situation with a pandemic that we're all stuck in right now, in which we have no idea, A, if they're actually going to be able to play week 1, but B, if they do play week 1, and we're hoping that's going to happen, that there's going to be next to no time to prepare. So you're sticking Tom Brady with a new team, new offense, new coaches, new receivers, except for Gronkowski, and you're throwing him right into the fire at the Superdome in New Orleans, his hardest game of the year. Well, good luck to Tom Brady on that one, because the NFL is saying, here, we're going to stick you with a loss. And then, as I tweeted yesterday afternoon, from that point on, you saddle him with one loss and then sit back and watch what happens. Because what's going to happen after that loss, and I'm going to give you a loss in that game, even though there might be a silver lining, Shannon, because it's possible there'll be no fans in the Superdome, so that might give Brady a little better chance of winning on the road. But I still don't like their chances against the toughest team they're going to play on this slate in an away game. So then what's going to happen? Well, unfortunately, Shannon, you're going to have to come into the studio, and we hope to be back in our studio pretty soon here on Undisputed, and you're going to have to sit in your chair Monday after Monday after Monday for 8 straight Mondays, because they're going to win 8 straight games, including a revenge game over the New Orleans Saints back in Tampa. So what's going to happen is they're suddenly going to be 8-1, and you're going to be eating all kinds of crow. I'm going to give you 2 more losses somewhere along the trail, probably the 2 division games. Just probably I'll throw in 1 at Carolina and 1 at Atlanta. But there's a 3-game stretch late in the year. It goes November 23rd, 29th, and then December 13th after a bye. 3 straight home games, Rams, Chiefs, Vikings. A tough stretch, but they're all at home, just as Tom Brady's team will have finally peaked, caught fire, gotten in sync, found their rhythm, found themselves, and I believe they'll win all 3 of those games and then close out with wins at Detroit and against Atlanta at home. I see 13-3. And again, Fox Bet has the Bucs winning 13 games by being favored, so they're favored 13 times. So I'll go with the chalk on that. I'll go 13 wins for Tom Brady. I'll go 13 wins will be 1 more win than New Orleans has. It's going to be close. It could be a dogfight right to the wire. It could be that both of them win 13 games, and maybe Brady and company will have to win a tiebreaker. But in the big picture, I got 13-3. I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. I reserve the right to change it, but off the schedule that I see, I love the fact that after game 1, they'll get right back on track. They play no cold weather games. There's not 1 cold weather game on this entire schedule. That will benefit the 43-year-old Tom Brady. That's one reason he wanted to go south to Tampa Bay. He will be as driven as any player who ever put on helmet and shoulder pads to show Bill Belichick that he was wrong the last 3 years as he tried to push Brady out the back door. And I love the way, actually, that this schedule sets up. And I didn't hear your prediction, Shannon. What did you say, like 10-6 or something like that? Some mediocre prediction? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I got 13-3.
3 wild cards.
One of the 3 wild cards. Well, at least you gave him that much respect. But in the end, Shannon, all I know is this offense will challenge Baltimore's and challenge Kansas City's to be the best offense in pro football because it is flat out loaded with firepower. Tom Brady is going to have, I'm going to say, 6 weapons that he did not have a year ago in New England when they were dead last in the NFL in what Pro Football Focus calls separation, receiver separation. He now has 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers. He now has Rob Gronkowski, whom he did not have last year. And Gronk is not too old as he's just turning 30 years of age. He'll have a big year. But they kept O.J. Howard. They kept Cameron Brate. They still have little Scotty Miller, who will be his new Edelman/Amendola in the slot with supreme short area quickness. The rookie last year out of Bowling Green, who had a big game against New Orleans, caught 4 balls for 71 yards. So I see firepower. I see firepower in the front 7 on defense. I see a Shaq Barrett who led the NFL in sacks. I see a loaded front 7. I see Antoine Winfield Jr. was a steal in the draft who will give them a quarterback, ball hawk, playmaker in the secondary. Todd Bowles is one of the best defensive coordinators in football. And all of a sudden, I'm adding up 13-3 Super Bowl team for Tom Brady in his new life as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
Yeah, you said something very interesting, that you reserve the right to change your mind. What the hell are you changing your mind for? You said 13-3. There should be nothing that comes up during the season that causes you to change your mind. You don't get to have that luxury. Oh, I reserve